Girl, as of recording this, the Wicked trailer has recently come out, and I'm about to go sing Defying Gravity because I'm living. I'm living. My queen Cynthia is doing what she's doing, and my other queen Ariana is also doing what she's doing. And I love both things that they're doing. I know you couldn't tell that from anything about me or about what I'm about. So, happy days, my name is Daisy Maize, and welcome back to a brand new episode of my series, season 2 of that series, I might add. I have to say it every time just to remind you all that, I'm not nothing, okay? I'm not jack shit. I'm Jill shit. What was I saying? Oh, right, Booning and Baning, my YouTube series Booning and Baning. And yes, I would be delighted to explain to you exactly what Booning and Baning is. First of all, it sounds exactly like what you think it sounds like, and I think that's funny. And I will not elaborate. So, Booning and Baning, for all of you who don't know but somehow are still here, is my series where I take a seemingly irrelevant topic and, by way of a pros and cons list, boons and banes, I absolutely dissect it in a way that it did not ask for, does not deserve, and will probably remember for generations to come. Its children will have been told horror stories about this experience. And I find that so comforting. So as you can see, I have my witchiest garb on, and this is actually the same kind of updated outfit, including the hat with the little pumpkin on it. Ta-da! Pumpkin. This is actually an updated version of the outfit that I wore to perform in my first ever Halloween Drag Wars. Now I've got 2 of them under my belt, and I can't wait to perform in a 3rd one. But needless to say, this look has some sentimental value to me. So if you shit on it, I'll find you, and I'll fuck your shit up. Okay? Thank you. But this look also has a practical purpose because today's topic is witchcraft. Oh yeah, baby, light as a feather, stiff as a board. We're not going to be talking about specifically that craft, but we're going to be talking about witchcraft in general. Now, witchcraft is weird because it's always been like a fairy tale thing, it's always been like a legends thing, and for some people it's always been a religion thing. And nowadays, it's sort of a neo-spiritualistic religion as well. It's sort of taken on a brand new form. I myself find it absolutely fascinating. I have many books on the subject. It is so cool to learn about and so interesting. At last, a religion that doesn't seem like it's just trying to drain you of your money and your will to live. Oh, I feel a burp coming and it's just not coming. So yes, today we are talking about witchcraft. I'm in the right outfit. I'm in the right mindset. I'm in my element. Let's go, bitch, with boon number 1. Witchcraft is a fascinating topic, okay? It's just fascinating. That's boon number 1. It is fascinating. Witchcraft as a concept is fascinating. The idea that we as people can manipulate the energies of the world around us in order to live in it in a way that we have some agency. That's so cool. You'll notice a lot of religions have more of like do nice things so this deity likes you. Most witchcraft, specifically Wicca, Druidry, etc. Those kind of down home, a lot of folk magic, less so organized, more so folk. A lot of those have more to do with honoring the individual spirits of an area and not necessarily manipulating things to your will, but more like making deals with things. Not even necessarily. That's when you get a little darker. But more like it's almost transactional in a way, right? It's like tit for tat, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours with the spirits of the world around you. I love this wig. I did work on this wig. And this wig is a Walmart wig that I fashioned into something a little more substantial. And it's just not willing to work with me today. And that's great. And I love that. So it's just very interesting to see a religion that one of its main tacits is that you affect the world around you. You make practical change. You participate. That's really cool. A lot of religion is like, okay, blindly follow so that you can be with the rest of us who are blindly following. And that works for some people. I get it, okay? Sometimes being sheeple is not a bad thing, okay? Sheep are adorable and docile. I would like more people to be adorable and docile. I think that'd be great. Bane number 2 has to do with the fact that people are not docile and adorable. They are actively the fucking worst. So bane number 1, we'll just get this out of the way now. It's the witch trials, okay? It's specifically the persecution of witches, or those who were viewed to be as practitioners of folk magic, because it wasn't a witch hunt. Let's be real. It wasn't a witch hunt. The reason witch hunt has such a connotation to it, the fact that it is like a scapegoat kind of persecution is because these were just folk religions. These were regional beliefs, and these were peoples who have been practicing the same culturally significant traditions because they are just as valid as anyone else's beliefs, and they weren't bothering anybody. Until Christianity, Catholicism, and I think Islam, don't quote me on that, I'm not as familiar with the Golden Age of Islam and the preceding and subsequent events. I have some more research to do on that. But it's always the big Abrahamic religions that really like to go after the small fry, right? Isn't that always how it goes? And the Romans similarly did that as well. Especially when you research Druidry, you find a lot of crossover between Druidic beliefs and Greco-Roman practices, and the kind of blend therein because of all of the conquest. Yeah. Rome kind of did that, right? Kind of did that whole conquest thing. Not super cool, Rome. But Rome knows. That's why Rome eventually developed into a Catholic state. Catholicism might be the most actively harmful of the Abrahamic religions, but Christianity, I think, is the one that's a little more like sneaky dangerous, because that's the one where it's like, yes, we love you. It's the Scientology of the three, right? It's very like, yeah, come on in here, do what we say. Very few witchcraft practices are like, hey, do this or you'll die. Do this or you'll burn forever in eternal torment, right? So naturally, because it's more of a free religion, the other religions that are all about control, hate to say it, but love to say it because it's true, they kind of ganged up on the little guy, right? And they've been ganging up on the little guys for quite some time. And this time it's not hot, it's just irritating. But thankfully you can't kill evil that easily, because boon number 2 is that witchcraft is getting a revival. Lord, we need a revival. Lord, we need a revival. Isn't it funny to sing gospel Christian music in reference to the glories of witchcraft? I think that's funny. But it is interesting that while the big Abrahamic religions, the big organized religions, not just Abrahamic, but also, well, I can't think of any. It's really just the Abrahamic ones that come to mind as like, I'm so glad they're on their way out. Because I'm sure they're not going anywhere. But they are becoming less popular as more people become a lot more, I can do whatever I want. There's nobody coming at me with like threats to burn me at the stake anymore. Well, I mean, yes, there are. But they're less likely to act on it. Hopefully. Although, you know what? One more gay club gets shot up and maybe we can't say that anymore. I just find it interesting and fascinating that a lot of rural folk magics and the more organized forms of witchcraft like Wicca, like Druidry, are starting to have sort of their revival, just as the Abrahamic religions are beginning to be viewed as a little much. You know what I mean? It's kind of like when everybody started liking gay people, that period of like 6 years where there was like very little homophobia and everybody was just chill. And then shit got worse real fast. We're kind of entering that phase for witchcraft and other niche religions. It's becoming a lot more like, everybody can just kind of vibe, right? And we don't need to like force everybody to vibe a certain way at a certain frequency, right? I think that's really cool. Bane number 2 is that we've gone through this cycle before. And we know how it usually ends, bitch. Witch hunts. You'll notice that there have been several witch hunts. Like, lots of witch hunts throughout history. I don't know. So for some reason, people just really hate witches. I don't know why. All the witches I know are very chill. They're like very cool and they're about good vibes. And the ones that aren't about good vibes, it's very easy to get on their good side and stay there. You just have to not be a dickwad. It's like not that hard. I've never understood. And then the people who are like, magic's not real, you can't hex me. It's like, let me put it this way. I don't know if I necessarily believe that a certain graveyard is haunted. I'm not going to peek around there at 2 a.m. to find out. I don't need to. It doesn't benefit me one way or the other. So I've never understood why people are like, go ahead, hex me, prove it. Girl, on the off chance that it's real, why bother? And if it's not real, you still look like a dick. You look like a smartass, and not in a good way. Not in the Ferris Bueller's Day Off way, but in the Professor Callahan and Legally Blonde way. Tying it all back, baby. Tying it all back. Tying it all back. I need a scrunchie. Oh, that makes me want to do a Heather's number. I have one in mind. It's just going to take a while to fucking get it together. We'll get there. So yeah, the frustration is that witchcraft's kind of renaissance that it's having right now, and that of many niche religions at the current moment where everybody's a lot more open-minded, it's kind of doomed to fail, right? Not because it's not strong enough, and not because humanity is like innately evil or anything. That couldn't possibly be it. But more because it's the same thing with like the Earth's cycles of like ice ages and superheating, you know, it's that kind of thing. It's just kind of how society goes in these circles. It's, you know, time is a flat circle, yada yada, wibbly wobbly timey wimey stuff. But yeah, it's just kind of frustrating to know that, like, once again, eventually, things are going to come to an end for Witchcraft's heyday, which is a real shame because I really love seeing it. But you just know that shitty people are going to stay in charge, and eventually those shitty people are going to enact the shitty things that they always enact. Love that. Now it's time for the penultimate boon, boon number 3. Girl, boon number 3 could not have been simpler for me to pick, mostly because I'm out of other better ideas. Hocus Pocus. Just Hocus Pocus. And let me tell you what I mean, because this actually applies to a lot of modern day media in the past couple of decades, and maybe in the future. Ooh. Hocus Pocus is the perfect example of the commodification, I think so, the commodification of a capitalistic commercial view of witchcraft, of witches in general as characters, as archetypes, you know what I mean? Witches are finally, they're like a long-standing presence now, in the same way that they have been in fairy tales, but now they're getting more interesting stories. Hocus Pocus is a perfect example of like giving fun character to something that was previously just scary and evil in all sorts of media, right? And now we have all sorts of different witch representation. You have Sabrina the Teenage Witch, you have the Hex Girls from Scooby-Doo and the Witch's Ghost, even though that wasn't, you know, it wasn't exactly actual witches, you get the idea. But like, we're in a period where like, Wicked, perfect. I was just talking about Wicked at the beginning of this video. Wicked is the perfect example of how witchcraft is no longer you are the villain. It is a perfect example of here's an interesting character and here's one facet of their personality. And you know what that says to me? It says that we have officially flipped the script on what the traditional trope of witches has been for literally millennia. Millennia? Centuries. Let's say centuries. I don't remember how long human beings have been around, and I couldn't tell you, and I couldn't guess, and I don't think I'd want to. But yeah, I really like that now that we've hit that penultimate breakthrough, so that now witches will never be viewed as purely evil ever again. There's enough room for doubt based on the representations that we've seen in the past couple decades of representation that has officially flipped the script on what the traditional witch is, and by extension, witchcraft. And I think that's really cool. I know you couldn't have guessed. Now, Bane number 3, the penultimate Bane. The penultimate Bane is that if witchcraft does turn out to be a real force of nature, something that we can actively do, if it turns out that all the skeptics were wrong and all of the optimists were right, and it is like a very real part of the universe in which we find ourselves, that opens the door to a lot of scary stuff, right? Like, just in general, that means that a lot of the world is not nearly as safe as we thought it was. And it opens this entire, like, the secret world kind of situation. And, I mean, if aliens aren't going to visit us, I really don't think we're ready for even the hidden secrets of the Earth, right? That sounds terrifying. So, Bane number 3 is that if we get our way, if I get my way, if we get our way and witchcraft is a real thing, and we prove it to be a real thing, and it's like an interesting aspect of humanity, that means that there's a lot more to deal with. And I don't think that we're prepared to deal with it. And I don't know how many centuries it will take, or millennia, until we are prepared to deal with it. Everybody looks into the future as a purely sci-fi type of thing, but, you know, there could be elements of fantasy added in there. Even if witchcraft as we know it as a fantasy trope doesn't come into being, or as a modern day religion doesn't come into being as like a fully realized art form and like physical way of adjusting and influencing the world, there could be advancements in technology that are basically magic, right? And I don't think we'd be able to handle the things that magic claims to do, whether organic or artificial, right? I don't think we can handle either of them. It's why people are so afraid of AI. It's why people are so afraid of the unknown. It's just, we are not prepared to handle things that we don't understand. And I don't know how much evolution it will take for us to get to a point where we are. So on that somber note, I'm going to give Witchcraft an overall score. I'm going to personally say Boon, because while it has the potential to be vain, I'm going to say Boon because Witchcraft and the magical arts and the idea of manipulating the energies of the universe is it opens a lot of opportunities and possibilities for advancement in the world. It creates a more magical, exciting life, don't you think? So it'd be really cool if it was real. I think that might make up for the potential negatives. The potential evil warlocks and dastardly sorcerers, right? And wicked witches. Oh, she's tying it all back, but not with a scrunchie. So that's it for the episode. I gotta be honest with you. I really liked this episode. I hope you did too. And you can guess where I'm going with this, girl. I gotta get a new wig or something. I don't know. You can guess where I'm going with this, though. If you liked this video, please like the video. And hey, while you're at it, why don't you subscribe if you haven't? You could also share the video. And once you're subscribed, you can hit those nifty little notification bells. There's multiple ones now? There's multiple notification bells. I've decided. I just made them. I forged them in my witchy little magical forge, and it was great. And Hephaestus said, "Damn, girl, nice shit." And we're married now. Isn't that fun? So yeah, hit that nifty little notification bell so that you get notifications every single time I post a brand new video chock full of cartoony cross-dressing plant-based content. It's gonna be great. It's gonna be great. I got all sorts of things planned. I got some exciting plans for Pride. If we're already there, then we're already there. And great, and you already know. Woo! Also, leave a comment. I would love it if you would leave a comment full of other topics that you would like me to discuss the boons and banes thereof. I'm running out of ideas. I don't know if that's obvious or not. It should probably be obvious. But yeah, that's all I've got for this episode. So thank you all again for watching, all 7 of you. I see you and I read those comments, and you have all been wonderful to me. Thank you. And it's been a joy seeing them and reading you and seeing you. And I look forward to seeing you in the next episode or the next video of whatever the fuck that it is that I post. Toodaloo! Mwah! Did that really just happen? Have I actually understood? This weird quirk that I've tried to suppress is a talent that can. It's a little Miranda Sings coded. I don't know if I really. It's a little Colleen Ballinger. I'm not really into that. The toxic gossip train is leaving the fucking station permanently. Goodbye. You didn't think I'd get one in there, did ya? Ha ha ha. You were wrong, but I almost didn't.